Hi everyone, and welcome back to another Borkno game video. Today's video is dedicated to Clan Battle number 3, so let's go ahead and jump right into this and talk about it. And by the way, we're recruiting for the clan, so if you need a clan, come join our clan. More than happy to have you. If you go into guides and references and you go to Clan Battle data, these are going to be the different monsters or bosses we're going to be fighting for this clan battle. And just note here that some of them have high physical defense. We're going to be covering that later. And some of them have high magical defense. Alright, so that's going to be a hint. When it comes to the analysis or the units, one of the things that I want to break down are the different bosses. And we're going to be looking at the Minotaur. Note here that the Minotaur has 7,600 physical attack. And then on lap 2, he has a whopping 15,000 physical attack. Alright, and then when you jump into someone like the Twin Pigs, because he's going to be the main boss, the main feature for this clan battle, he only has 2,300 physical attack, and then you jump to lap 2 and he only has 5k physical attack. So what does this tell you? This is going to be a much better experience regarding everything, and we have to cover this, the analysis. So now we have the comparison between 9.3 and 8.6. Alright, now when it comes down to all of this, what is the answer? What is the things that we need to see with this? This is going to provide you a better guideline on how the TP boosts are going to be working. So one of the characters that we talked about very frequently is going to be Minotaur right here, and Minotaur gets 15 TP boosts from this section. Note that the effective like physical HP and all that stuff, it really doesn't matter. The most important part is that she gets some boost to the TPs. Note that she loses some physical defense, but she gains a lot of physical attack and just enough when it comes down to everything TP boost. Alright, TP boost is the most important thing. Minotaur, if you want to look at other characters, we'll do that, but for the most part we're going to be focusing on clan battle. Now the next boss that's technically new to the roster is going to be the Cyclops, and note here that he has 2,400 physical attack, 1,815 magical attack, and then you jump to lap 2 and then he jumps to a whopping 3,900 physical attack and 2,800 physical attack. When it comes down to all this, is he going to be a threat? Absolutely. But obviously Twin Pigs is going to be the one that's most likely going to be killing you. So when it comes to Cyclops and countering him, bring Yukari because his UB is going to be magical related. Try to time the UB for Yukari at the appropriate time against Cyclops because his skill 1 is going to be physical oriented. And just know all of the bosses are going to be weak to, like, you know, the debuffs that actually do damage, alright? None of the stuff that actually stops them from attacking, because that would be overpowered. Alright, Twin Pigs. This guy is going to be a threat, not because of the way, you know, we displayed Minotaur and their attacks and everything, but he has 5k attack. Don't let that fool you. He is technically a double boss. So there are technically 2 bosses packed into this one boss. That's why it's called Twin Pigs. And note that it's pretty much like a team boss where he can do attacks where he can pretty much bounce off of each other and all that stuff, right? And when it comes to this, if you look at his Union Burst, he actually has 2 versions of his Union Burst. One version where he does 6% damage and one version where he does 20%. I believe this is because one of the pigs has a certain Union Burst and the other one has a 20% hit. So you're going to have to watch out for the fact that he can deal damage, you know, synchronously. As in, like, he can do a Union Burst much quicker than other bosses. And you might have to bring, you know, a more defensive-ish style to counter this guy. So maybe like Yui, Misato, or whichever character that you choose to bring in order to counter, you know, the attacks that he's going to be doing. But what's the most important part, since there's going to be 2 targets for this boss, is you can actually run different teams. So by this, let's go ahead and scroll down. I just added this. These are going to be some teams that you can run for Twin Pigs, and this is also some teams that you can run for Cyclops. Now when it comes to this, obviously you can configure it, run it whichever way that you want. Note that there's not one team that's ever like the god team, right? Because you can always make things better. But these are some suggestions that I wanted to provide in case folks were confused, because, you know, you can't really tell who's who on like this section right here. By the way, this is Makoto and this is Mitsuki, in case folks were curious, right? You can see here, this is the Kokoro team. I'm not sure if they're going to run Kokoro as the face tank or not, but you can definitely do it however way you want. But let's go ahead and keep covering the Twin Pigs. Now, when it comes to this, he's still, you know, not immune to like dot, but he is going to be immune to like stun sleeps and all that stuff. Note here that he has a laundry list list of skills that he can pretty much do. So he's going to be attacking and using all these skills quite a bit. So be very careful. Do not underestimate this boss because it can definitely backfire you. Now, the thing that I want to talk about the most though is that the biggest room for experimentation is the fact that he only has 200 magical defense, alright? So with that being said, technically you don't have to run just these physical teams, and it leaves rooms for something like Kyoka, Akari, or you can run Akari with pretty much Hatsune and other AoE-esque characters. Just note that there's technically only 2 targets here, so your AoE, you know, if you hit 3 targets it would deal much more damage, but since there's only 2 you can't really maximize on the AoE damage. But you can see here that they definitely put Mimi here, and technically they put Hiyori, so that's going to be interesting seeing how these teams essentially perform. But technically they ran the same thing against Cyclops. And when it comes down to everything, you know, we have similar bosses where it's pretty much Wyvern, Wild Griffin, Needle Creeper. We've experienced these 3 bosses before, so there's nothing new there to really talk about. When it comes down to everything, what are the teams, what are the compositions? So you can run the standard Makoto Mitsuki team. By that you can run, you know, something like this. Now we don't have the new image yet, or I haven't seen it. If you want to share it, I'll post it on the notes, and the notes will always get updated even though the videos cannot be edited, right? So when it comes to this, Makoto, Mitsuki, Kaori, Kokoro, that's probably going to be the premier team that you can run for lap 1 that deals the most damage. You can run this team on any boss whatsoever so long as they can tank the damage, alright? People were running this on lap 2. If you didn't know, Kokoro Face Tank is by far the strongest physical team when dealing damage because you don't have to worry about a tank. If you're wondering how is everyone dealing so much damage, it's always Makoto Mitsuki because those two together have the highest physical defense down, which you are supposed to not do, but it will result in extremely high DPS, is Jun, Makoto, Mitsuki. Now why is it Jun, Makoto, Mitsuki? It's because these 3 put together have the highest defense breaks, and they will always have someone defense broken. Now when it comes to this, why is it like that? Why do people run this? Because it is so tempting to do the highest damage in the entire clan battle, and when it comes to this, these 3 are going to be the best. They're the kings or queens when it comes to this, and do not fall into the trap of running these 3 at the same time, because what happens is you break your other comps. So for example, you can run the Makoto and Jun comp and then the Makoto and Mitsuki comp, but if you run those 3 all at the same time, then you destroy these 2 teams, and then you won't have balanced damage throughout clan battle. Now note here we have the addition of Kyoka and Kari, and that's just going to be because we have this information where we can see here that some of the bosses don't have that much magical defense compared to their physical defense, and Kyoka is going to be able to break these bosses with lower magical defense. Alright, she's not going to be dealing extreme damage, but the thing is a Kyoka team is going to be much better than your hodgepodge random Makoto team that's like the last one that you run and you dread it, right? Because you're like, alright, I can run like whatever team that I want to run because it's Makoto, you know, Miyako, and whoever, right? It's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, this will do a lot of damage, and no, it won't. Now you can run something like Kyoka. Some of you are like, Borg, I don't have Kyoka. Why would you make Kyoka like one of the people that you have to run? You don't have to run Kyoka. But, well, ideally, if one person in your entire clan has Kyoka, one person, make that person set their borrowed unit to Kyoka. I don't care if they have Makoto. They should set it to Kyoka because Kyoka is going to be dealing massive magical damage to an enemy directly with 32,000 base damage, 420 blaze it. Alright, when it comes to all of this, Kyoka is going to be the unit that you want for this clan battle, or a unit that you want for all of the clan battles because she deals such high magical damage to one boss in particular. If we go to someone like Hatsune, right? Hatsune deals 3,477 and 3,477 and 5,000. You know, if you add it all up, it's like then 12k, something like that, right? It's nowhere near the damage that pretty much Kyoka can deal. Let's look at someone like Anna. Anna, there you are. Maybe she can deal a little bit more, but then she also does like her 13k damage when she self-destructs. But Anna is also like a good unit that you can run if you can keep her alive among all of the things she does to pretty much make herself more susceptible to damage. And then you have someone like Kari. She's definitely going to be a staple unit because she does 89 magical defense down for 12 seconds or you can run technically someone like Carol. The thing is with Carol is that her magical defense down is very negligible. It's only 36. She only does 6,000 damage, but then she does 10,000 damage to an enemy on Lightning Sphere. So she could be a viable option, I feel, if you want to run someone who's like, all magical oriented and she has a high single target magical attack, because Hatsune Hatsune has this, that 10,001. So technically you can run Hatsune because she's going to keep herself alive. But you don't want to run someone like Io because Io's here for the charm. She deals, small magical damage to all enemies. She's just built for PvP, alright? Now, you can run her if you want because she's your waifu, but I really don't recommend it for clan battle. Hatsune and definitely Carol are going to be the two that you want to run, or you can run Anna if you're feeling ballsy and you can keep her alive, alright? But the biggest thing that you have to know is that Maho is actually also going to be a viable option because Maho actually has a boost to magical attack on her UB. Just note that this blind is going to be ineffective to the boss, so don't really worry about that. But her heal and her magical attack boost, it's going to be pretty nice, I don't think anyone like Kokoro or the other team members can really do it. Let's go ahead and go to Kokoro. Kokoro, she does do some magical attack increase, but just know it's only at 401. Let's go ahead and look at Maho. How much was hers? Hers was going to be 307. So you can run Kokoro, I guess, for your magical team as well if you want to do that. But the thing is then you mess up your teams for, something like the Kaori, Kokoro, like face tank sort of thing. When Kokoro tri-slashes, you want to cast your UB so you can lock her in place as a tank for the amount of time that you need her there. So it's up to you, whichever person that you want to run. You can run Maho or whichever magical buffer that you want to run. When it comes down to all of this, is this clan battle going to be more difficult than the last one? Absolutely not. With that being said, let's go ahead and jump into some PvP. And of course, I'll leave links to my notes as always. So let's go ahead and see. Alright, this team looks pretty doable. And when it comes down to clan battle, one of the biggest worries is obviously, what if I don't have Kyoka? What's going to happen? You can still perform well. You can still rank within top 100 or whichever your dedication is going to be. By the way, we're recruiting. And that's just going to be because you want to focus on certain things, right? So for example, when it comes down to if you're worried about the magical damage isn't really going to be at its peak performance until we get Summer Karu, who has at least one higher magical defense debuff than Akari. So you have two magical defense breakers compared to the single one. But I've been seeing this team quite frequently where Kyoka is just absolutely decimating everything. If you're wondering, is Kyoka a meta unit? From what I can tell, yeah, she's definitely a threat. And don't YOLO pull, alright? If you have one person, like I said, in the clan that has at least one Kyoka, you'll be absolutely fine. Don't try to do something where it's overextending yourself regarding your gems and jewels and all that stuff, because it's just really not worth it. You're gonna end up hurting yourself more than gaining benefits, and not to mention you're going to regret pulling for Kyoka just to perform in one clan battle, because Kyoka is going to be a permanent unit. And of course, don't let me stop you. If this was the one trigger where Kyoka, my waifu, you're finally coming home, I completely understand. That is your dedication. That is what you want. Don't let me stop you, alright? When it comes to Princess Arena, I'm always worried when I see a Miyako because it's always hard to penetrate the defenses with her dodges and everything, and she just keeps herself alive, and I just worry. But alright, we're doing okay against this team. Feel free to copy any of my teams. My teams, they're nowhere near perfect. I am not a PvP expert. I just do them because this is the one thing that I can sort of look forward to when it comes to just having fun, because when you attack and you lose and you don't D-rank, that is one of the systems that I absolutely love, because I'm so used to D-ranking whenever I lose a fight, because when you're in ranked matches, that's what happens all the time in gacha or any game, right? But it's a lot more casual in Princess Connect, and I definitely appreciate the more casual nature. When it comes to everything as well, when you're participating in clan battle, try to, if you can, look at your team members' previous damage, because that's going to be another huge factor. Obviously you can communicate within clan chat, within the actual game. Try to share your teams within the actual clan battles and everything occurring, because The thing that makes other clans stand out from others is the fact that clans just communicate and they share what are the teams that are pretty much viable for the situations that they are in. A lot of the times clans, they don't communicate enough and everyone runs teams that aren't as good as they can be. You know, the Makoto and Mitsuki team, that's like the one that you want to run. Makoto and Jun team, and then the Kyoka team for, you know, the last magical damage. If you don't have Kyoka, like I said, don't stress yourself out. It's not going to be the end of the world. There's going to be more clan battles. Kyoka is going to be here forever. And we're going to have more than enough time to pretty much pull her one day, whether it's pre-fest or some other situation. She's going to be coming home and everything's going to be okay, alright? Of course, we have to talk about the fact that there hasn't been any compensation for the Crunchyroll, the clan battle that happened previously. Honestly, I'm not really too worried about it. I'm sure Crunchyroll will have some sort of statement. Everything's going to be okay. Hopefully that gets resolved with everything coming down the pipe. But it really affected like most of like the top end whale players. But when it comes down to it, I feel like some of us, like the larger part of the community, just sort of wants to move on. But of course, any sort of word and compensation would be nice. But anyways, if you made it this far into the video, consider subscribing, dropping a like, leaving a comment, follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. Once we get 17,500 subs, we'll be doing a giveaway. Have yourself a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. And finally, I am so happy to announce we have 150 calorie shards. Do you know what that means? Do you know how long I've been waiting for this? It is time for my waifu to get the love and attention that she deserves. She is now finally among the group of 5 stars within my roster. Kaori, my dedication has finally caught up. One day you will get 6-star. I don't think she has 6-star yet in JP, but I'm so happy to see her in her 5-star form. Absolutely fantastic. Just wanted to share that.